This is my review of Chapter 49 of Bleach manga. We opened Uryu's looking at his bow. His bow's now massive because he's touching Ichigo's sword. And Uryu goes into a mental thought about how their respective powers work. He says Shinigami focus all their power into their sword, while Quincy's pull power from around them to create their weapon, their attacks and techniques. And that somehow Ichigo's power is going from inside of his sword into Uryu. And Uryu thinks that means that Ichigo's sword is just radiating his power because he can't control it that well or something. So Uryu shows Ichigo his bow and remarks that they may be able to kill the Minos Grande after all. The chapter cover is of Kisuke and Rukia watching the battle. Orihime and Chad are apparently right above them. They're like watching them from a window. Orihime reveals that she remembers the battle between Ichigo and her brother, but she didn't want to believe it's real, and then she asks Chad what he thinks they should do. Uryu ties Ichigo's sword to his head. It looks pretty funny. And he directs Ichigo to force all of his power into him. And Ichigo says he doesn't know what he's talking about, and then Uryu turns around, looks at him, and Kubo wrote in a big whoosh because he's moving the fucking sword on his head. So that was pretty funny. And again, Uryu tells Ichigo that he wants him to release all his power at once. But Ichigo reveals that he's never done anything but that. He doesn't know how to regulate it. And so Uryu realizes that if he doesn't know how to regulate it, then he must have an incredible amount of power. And he just can't believe that Ichigo hasn't been able to do that, but he's been fighting all this time. That he doesn't know how to control the amount of power he's getting off. Ichigo just knows how to either use his energy or not. He's at 0 or 100, essentially. The Minos begins concentrating all of its power into his mouth, and Rukia warns them that it's getting ready to fire Sero and that it will kill them. Ichigo takes off and starts running toward the Minos Grande instead of helping Uryu. And the Minos fires with Sero. Ichigo starts blocking the Sero, and then Uryu hears a sound and realizes that Ichigo is now gathering all of his power and forcing it into his sword. And he has the epiphany that if Ichigo is always at full power, then he must have an incredible amount of energy to never run out of power, and that if he could focus all of it into a single point, then it would be extremely powerful. And then Ichigo deflects the Sero and releases a massive energy wave from the sword and slashes the Minos, and the little corner thing is of a valve, the twist knob of a valve falling off, essentially showing that Ichigo no longer has the ability to turn off his power. Now it's just overflowing and free-flowing like crazy. To call this a fight would be disingenuous. Thinking about it, I don't think there are any fights ever with a Minos Grande. They're always just an event. Always, that comes down to one attack. Someone usually will one-shot it and kill it, or drive it away. In this case, drive it away. I don't think anyone ever actually just fights a fucking Minos Grande. So that's a bit disappointing, but, you know, I guess that wasn't the point of it. I do wonder if Ichigo went with Uryu's plan, if his arrows obviously would have been able to hurt it. I wonder, though, if he could have killed it. Like, I don't know that Uryu can focus all of his power into one attack. If he could, then, you know, that would be enough probably to pierce its fucking head and kill it, but I don't know that, it would be that powerful. It also makes you wonder when they kill one of these, how does that work with the Soul Society? Like, do all of the souls break apart and regain their individuality and go in Soul Society, or what the fuck happens? That becomes even more of a conversation later on when you find out the further evolutions of the Hollows, like how the death of them works and shit. It just gets really weird later on. But yeah, I just have to wonder if Uryu could have killed it. I'm sure he could have driven it off the same way Ichigo did. It just would have taken a longer amount of time. But I don't know. Yeah. The Sarah obviously looks cool. Ichigo doing a big slash, I guess, is prelude to what will become later. But there's not a lot to really say about this.